Homies, program time. Shake them sheets, brush that grill, roll up that mat. Program time. Ha ha. Program time, baby. Early in the morning, get that ass up, baby. Let's get that money, biscuits and gravy. Keep one on top of the Colt 380. I don't move to the hood.
West, everybody. Hey, it's the second episode, and it's official. We got the equipment. We got in a little more comfortable setting. And first and foremost, I want to take the opportunity to thank everybody that embraced me into the podcast community. It was a good feeling. I dropped the first episode and I dropped it on YouTube. I had to do something with the 100K subscribers that I got, so that was kind of like the celebration. I knew I had to emphasize in my career, and I think I did great with that. That was step one, so I think that's what made it much better, to do it and then get the reaction. So that's what I did. Is I dropped it and I started seeing. I wanted to see what people were gonna say and how people were gonna feel, and people embraced me, and I like the real ones that checked in. They let me know, I out of everything that I said, I got some responses about what y'all want me to talk about. I like that, to know that I could interact with y'all, with the people that listen to my music. Maybe I could be an inspiration in your life. Maybe I could be somebody that you could learn from my mistakes. Or learn from whatever knowledge I know, but I look forward to it, and that's why we're here today, and we're doing episode 2, so it's official, and this time around, I brought the Hennessy bottle, you know what I'm saying, I'm gonna open it for y'all. I'm not gonna get all fucking stupid faded, because this shit will turn you into a motherfucking Incredible Hulk in a heartbeat. You know what I'm saying? So one thing too, one of my older homies that always told me, he's all like, hey Dopey, respect this bottle. So motherfucking Hennessy ain't no joke. OG homie, anybody drink this shit, you better take it slow and respect it. So always remember, young Dopey said, respect the bottle. So respect the motherfucking bottle, boy. But I have some of my boys right here today. Like the other podcast, which y'all didn't know, the first episode, I had like 30 people up in there in the background. So if you think artists don't get stage fright, fuck, that shit was pressure, But today I got a more intimate setting. I got like 8 of my boys. You know what I'm saying? They right here chilling, giving me their opinion. It's good too when you have a team that supports you, believes in you, believes in your vision. Salute to my boys, and that's why I got a few cups where we're gonna take some drinks and while we share today with you. So just so you know, before I pour up, today we're gonna talk about some interesting topics, and I think the world has been waiting to hear my story, and I'm gonna tell it from beginning to end, all the way from my family, my elders, from where they came from, how I ended up here in West LA, how I ended up in Inglewood, California, the gang life, the gang life, how the gang life led me to meet some of the greatest people. How Double 9 Records started, and how how we ended up interacting with Death Row Records and Suge Knight. Me being one of the youngest artists ever interacting with them. And then from me getting incarcerated and you know, all the way to how the 6th BLK Records started. You know, and it's a big romance. It's dramatic. It's a lot of knowledge. You know, you might learn from this. You know, a lot of young people that are might be going through what I'm going through or what I was going through when I was younger. And the trials and tribulations, and you know, maybe create some conversation with the youth, and then also for those that have been incarcerated, that have dreams, you know, to never give up. I know there's a lot of homies, a lot of Raza homies in there trying to rap, and there's opportunities. There's a lot of black homies that I know from different neighborhoods and aspects of California that I've met that are very talented. Even whites, you know, even Asians, shit, you know. I met Indians, you know, that we share this passion. So anybody that's locked up, man, that's just a stepping stone, you know. You will definitely get there, but you gotta put your mind, body, and soul into it. And you know, I'm sharing my story so you see, so maybe you could gain from it. Maybe whatever happened, you know, like we could go back to it in episode 50 or episode 75. We talk about that, you know. I will be paying attention to the comments, so feel free to ask a question, and you know, here and there, you know, I'll probably have some Q&As live one day in the future. You know, everything's trial and error right here, right now. So we spitting this shit raw. I don't have a script. I didn't write nothing down. It's just I love it because it's genuine, because it's the truth. So I'm gonna tell y'all my story, and I hope y'all love it and appreciate it. And I'm alive, healthy to be here and tell y'all. That's what I'm saying. I shouldn't be here, but I'm here. So God put me here. Thank you, Lord. And yeah, let me pour this one up, because I'm gonna be zipping with y'all around along the way. You know what I'm saying? Beezy, what you want to drink though? You drinking?
I'm on whatever you want, bro.
Yeah,
what you said,
what's your?
Shit, let's do it.
Go first, man. For sure. Oh shit! You know what? Do we got any Coke Zero? No. How about Coke? Can you give me a Coke, bro? Please, cause yeah. I mean, shit. It's a monster one right here. Yeah, I gotta drink Henny with some Coke, man. Cause if not, then we gonna get real turned up real quick. You know what I'm saying? So you guys want to make sure Coke or just straight?
I'll take it straight, dude. Just
straight?
a little bit.
Yeah, not this much, huh? Hell no. Chief, what do you want?
Mix.
Mix?
Yeah.
That's good for me right there, man.
Yeah. Here you go, bro. How about you, BZ? Straight or?
No, I'm gonna do some coke with that too, bro. Yeah,
What kind of Coke, bro? What you talking about?
Oh, that could pour
Good, little boy?
bro. That's
And
good
just so you
right
know,
there.
D, none of the things on the table are coming up.
That's good right there, bro.
That's cool.
So, appreciate you.
But it's smooth though, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so you want to show? We pouring that.
You don't always drink, but when you get thirsty,
Well,
you drink Hennessy.
When I get thirsty, homie, I drink Hennessy. Nah, but that's my choice. I mean, there's a lot of sugar and shit, but I mean, bear with me, y'all. I'm pouring up, and that's the thing. Like, you gotta pour up for the squad first, and then y'all, and then yourself. I mean, pour up for the squad, and then yourself. Chief, fuck that shit, man. Damn, this fool's like the fucking liquor monster.
That mix. What's that?
Yeah, so if y'all hear me slurring a little bit, whatever, just because I'm enjoying the moment with y'all, you feel me? Hold on. You know what? This one is a little too. You go,
I mean, I
bro.
like something too, bro. It's good, that way.
It's good?
Yeah,
Damn. Okay.
that'd be good, man.
Hold on, fellas. Hold on, fellas. Bear with me. Let's take a little cheers, no?
Sorry.
Cheers to everybody right here. Fellas, homies, thank you. Everybody.
Appreciate y'all.
Yeah.
man.
We here. So I'm gonna take a little swig first. I don't want to put my finger in there, cause you don't know where my finger's been. Nah, fuck it. Woo. Okay. My bad, guy. I don't know. I don't want you recording later, and then you're gonna be
Nah,
all
he's straight.
fucked
He's
up.
straight.
All right, man. So now that we got those formalities done with and everything, I'm gonna go ahead and kick it off. There ain't no better way to kick this episode off by giving a big shout out to my family, my bloodline. I know a lot of people wonder my background and where I'm from, like my heritage and all that. But just so you know, everybody, I have family. I'm both Mexican and I'm both from Guatemala. I have family that comes from Cacahuatán, Chiapas, and I have family that comes from San Marcos, Guatemala. And if you do your homework, you could check. It's down south, and it's on the borderline. So shout out to those small towns, and shout out to all my ancestors, Aztec and Mayan, and that's why I always mention both. And let's start from there. So as you see, my family are from the borderline, and it all started with my tia Patricia, my tia Pati. She was a teacher in Guatemala, and she heard all her friends and the hype of crossing the border, and everybody wants a better opportunity, and the United States is the place to be. So she was a teacher, and then she finally got an opportunity to come to the United States. So she abandoned her post as a teacher, and she actually took initiative and just went. And, to fast forward, she did end up in the border in Mexico, and she passed with a bus driver. The bus driver was a normal that would pass tourists back and forth from California to Mexico. And my tia was pretended to be their wife, and the driver had a baby, so they used the baby as a decoy by my tia holding the bus driver's son, and the actual mom had to hide somewhere under some blankets. So the authorities did come in when they tried to when they searched, and it was a close call because they were looking around, and then they seen my tia, but since he was a regular, they didn't question him, and that's how my tia crossed the border. She became successful. She became the first one of my bloodline that I could recall that came to the United States. And this is the way I mention this, because I want the younger homies, or any homies, or anybody, any race. We might not pay attention when we're teenagers or when we're in our 20s or any time. I'm just bringing it up that I think is very important that we talk to our elders. We talk to our mothers, fathers, grandparents, great grandparents, whoever is here in this world, so we could one day share this knowledge with our great grandkids. Like maybe they would want to know where we came from. I mean, have y'all ever asked y'all family how it happened for us? Do we appreciate the struggles that they've been through? Like, do y'all? Like me going through my trials and tribulations that actually made me think about my father, my mother, and what they went through to give me a better life here, because I do see in these other countries it's hectic, and I know they got good lives over there too, big ups. I'm not down talking. I'm just saying to everybody, there's more opportunity here in the United States. So I am the first generation born here in California, in Los Angeles. So maybe other people could learn from it, and if not, just pull your tia, pull your uncle one day to the side, and your grandfather, and be like, hey, OG, grab a little bottle and say, man, how did you get here, I bet that they would love to tell y'all, you know. So that's what I did the other day. Matter of fact, that on the Super Bowl, when the Eagles were playing the Chiefs, and then my family was together. So I just thought like, hey man, why not ask? And they loved it. At first they were like, why you want to know? And you know, I think our people are a little grumpy sometimes, but and then once they started talking, I was just like, I'm just asking shit. Like I want to know, Tia, like what's going on? So she let me know, and it's crazy what they went through to get here, you know. And so just so you know, my tia did come, and then the first city she landed in was Santa Monica, whatever, the white way, you know. But Santa Monica in right here in West LA, and then she went to Venice. So it's two small cities next to each other on the coast. And my tia landed in Venice, and when she landed there, she gave birth to my primo. Shout out to my primo Elvin, to Alex, love y'all, to my beautiful cousin Carolina. She got a smile that can brighten up a whole room. Beautiful. I love y'all, you know, and love moms because she's a wonderful person. If it wasn't for her, we wouldn't be here. So my tia Patti was there in Venice, and she gave birth to my cousin Elvin. And Elvin, they had a 2-bedroom, but she was like, I don't need a 2-bedroom. So the manager was like, hey, I don't have a 2-bedroom, but I have a 1-bedroom in Inglewood, California. And there's where Inglewood came about, baby. You know what I'm saying? So my tia moved to Inglewood to go to this 1-bedroom apartment, you know. And you know, I mean, I know everybody loves their hometown, but man, I love my town because of that. Tia, like, I know she'd be like, this fucking cholo right here, you know, but hey, you know, I have to represent, you know what I'm saying? So thank you, Tia. And when she landed in Inglewood, that's when she worked on getting my father and my mother over here, you know. So my mom and dad went through the motions of going to the border in TJ, and then them being on their last dollar, and then being broke, and then you know, then from there they ended up coming through, and then my uncle, my tío Robin, ended up coming through, and they all landed in Inglewood, you know. And then that's how my family bear fruit from Inglewood, California. Now, you know, they're spread all around Inglewood, California, to West LA, to Hawthorne, California, and you know, we're still there, and you know, and then my lovely mother and father gave birth to little old me, you know. Well, my sister first, but my sister Bianca, I love you, sis. After came was me, you know, and I was named after my father, Byron, his last name Castillo. And now it turns into the dynamics of what happened of me growing up and what led to the music, you know. So I just think that I'll share that part with y'all, you know. And so being there as a little kid, you know, everybody hears Inglewood now, and they hear SoFi Stadium, they hear the Rams, they hear the Chargers, they hear Snoop Dogg, they hear all these big entertainment businesses, and it wasn't like that before, you know. So in case y'all ever go on to my Instagram or YouTube, and then you guys see me, let me move this mic to get a little more comfortable. Yeah. You hear me? All right, cool. Mic check. I'm taking a little sweat. So you guys think that Inglewood, California wasn't this place. It's not this place that it is now, you know, and I'm grateful for that because I'm actually somebody that knows where Inglewood came from, and I think every city was much worse. You know, you gotta understand that Los Angeles is gang capital of the world. You know, so we over here, like, we're going through some shit. You know, and I think the '90s. I was born in the late '80s, but in the '90s, I think it just fucking blew up. You know, this gang shit, and you know, I got to be a part of it in the end. You know, but me catching the end wave in '99, 2000, even then I got to get raised off the traits of some of the best OGs in this gangbanging shit, you know? And I'm not downplaying them because they're warriors. They did their thing for hometown, for their home team. It's kind of like, you know, you could look at gangs like like a team, like your team from junior high or your high school. Instead, like, you know, our team was street gangs, you know, and I'll touch on that, you know, and so I'll touch on that as I go along the storyline. You know, when I talk about Inglewood, since this is a true story, I will talk about my neighborhood, which is 18th Street, 106. I will talk about the Inglewood boys. You know, I will refer some sections to Lennox. You know, once upon a time, Inglewood, California was known as a blood dominant city. I will mention Inglewood family. I will mention Queen Street Bloods. I will mention the Crenshaw Mafia Bloods. The Center Park Bloods, the Weirdos, you know, the Imperial Village Crips to the Tongan Crips, you know, that all of those gangs that I mentioned, I do want to hit a quick topic. I mean, state something, and is that me getting on this camera, I'm not saying it to promote any gangs or to disrespect any of those sets, you know. Quiet as it's kept, you know, I have made friendships with their most reputable homies from their neighborhoods, and doing time and going through some struggles, and now we want better for our community. So I've been in conversations with some of the best of their teams, you know, so I cannot offend them, but I will talk about my story. You know, so I do think that maybe a young individual needs to hear this, you know, or maybe some people in the past will remember what the fuck we went through. Maybe, you know, shit, some old friends will tap in and be like, hey, Byron, or hey, Dopey, I remember you, you know. But this is what happened to me when I was raised in Inglewood. So now that we're transitioning from my family crossing the border, we're gonna go to, you know, just my teenage years. Give me a sec. Everything smooth? Cool. Just want to make sure there's no technical difficulties. You know what I'm saying? If you guys want to refill, let me know, but don't respect the bottle.
Yeah, we
Respect the bottle.
We got food on the way. We good.
Okay. Cool. So, you know, fast forwarding, you know, my childhood was lovely. Just so you know that. Just know anything that I say, I'm not going to downplay my mother and father. They were great parents. They raised me right. My mom is a lovable, sweet woman. The sweetest thing ever, you know, like any mother's love. My father also was my best friend and tried to raise me the best that he can. So any mistakes that I ever made in life is not their fault. You know, it's entirely by my choice, and you'll see how it's my choice, you know. You know, so big ups to mom and dad, man. I love y'all and everything that y'all went through. You know, straight up. You know, because without y'all, you know, like, I wouldn't have this blessing, you know. So I love you, ma. Love you, mama. And dad, what's up? Toast, because I know you over there zipping somewhere too. Like, man, what's my son doing? Because I am, yeah, he used to visit. He used to be the only one visiting me in juvenile hall sometimes, man. And it hurt him seeing his own seed being locked up. But he tried. But, you know, we're not there yet, you know? So my mother and father split, you know. Their business is their business, is to be kept there. You know, like any couple, I think shit happens, you know. And going through a split is what led for my father moving on. And, you know, he got with another woman, which is a lovely lady. She is good friends with me too. She raised me too, you know. And they had another family, and I had more brothers and sisters, but they moved. My father moved to Koreatown, like Koreatown, Pico Union District. So big ups to my brothers and sisters. I love y'all. They're because we're all, to me, don't matter. We have different mothers. I love y'all to death, and y'all know that, girls. You know, I used to treat my girls, my little sisters, like princesses, and my brothers, I used to rough them up because this is a cold world, you know. So I used to play fight with them to be like, man, y'all better be ready. You know what I'm saying? So my mother and father split, and they split right before I hit my puberty. And the puberty phase could be anything from 10 to 13 years old, but definitely at 10 years old, 11 years old is when I started acting up, you know. And that led from my mother, them splitting, to jump around Inglewood, California, meaning that she had to move out and then move somewhere else. So there was a time where we lived like on the Florence and La Brea area, you know, of Inglewood, California. Then we moved to the Arvada and Prairie section of Inglewood, California, to the Hardy section of Inglewood, California, all the way to the Hundreds. The only thing is that my mother found employment there, and she was used to the markets there. Like, my mother doesn't drive, so she's used to walking. Everything's walking distance, and since she worked there, she never wanted to leave. So she'll be in Inglewood. She always wanted to stay there, and me being her son, like, me bouncing back and forth due to me getting incarcerated is what led me being. It's what led me going to Koreatown sometimes and being in Inglewood sometimes. So during this transition, I had my friends in Inglewood, California, so I would always ditch school wherever I was at to take the bus to come back to my friends. And I wasn't even gangbanging yet, you know? But that was my home, you know, and I wanted to be with my friends. And it all started when I left elementary, you know? So this puberty phase that I'm talking about, I went from every junior high, from Crozier Middle School to Monroe Middle School to Lenox Middle School, and getting kicked out of their district. I'll have to go to LA, and I've been to Virgil, I've been to John Burroughs Middle School, Barrendo, Nightingale. I've been all over LA, and I've only made it to 6th grade, you know, and to this day that's the highest grade that I attended school at. But it was like this for me, you know. I learned very, very quick. Me being in those schools, I seen that there was always bullies. you know, and that's why to this day I don't like no bullies. I don't like bullies, man. So don't ever come around me thinking that you're gonna rough some shit up, cause you already know, you know, like I don't like bullies, you know. So 6th grade, you're considered like a scrub, you know, whatever. But to me, I seen that me coming out of class, I had my friends from elementary, and I would go to the basketball court to play basketball, or if I wanted to play softball, whatever it was, soccer. You always had these 7th graders or 8th graders trying to be like, hey, that's my basketball court. And I caught on quick. Like I had both Latino friends and black friends. So just so you know, Inglewood, California is not like San Fernando Valley or like East LA. No disrespect towards San Fernando Valley or East LA. All I'm saying that over there, it's a Hispanic dominant community, you know. Inglewood was more 50-50. So Inglewood was Hispanics 50% and blacks 50%. So we mingled in naturally 50-50. So I have friends that used to go to the basketball court, and then you had these guys coming up being like, hey, this is my basketball court. And I didn't like that shit, that they try to come tough. And I was fresh from elementary, and elementary was a bit innocent. So when they came to me like that, I'll sock them up, straight up. Bam! Motherfucker, what you mean it's your basketball court, homie? So, obviously, some of them would run away, or some of them would stay there and fight. Or that led to after school fights. Hey, I'll meet you, you know, after school. And I did all of them. Never turned down anything. So that's why I get kicked out of schools real quick, you know, because I was protecting my friends, you know. And I thought it was innocent. I thought like I was always helping, you know, but I always got the shitty end of the stick because of that. I'm not calling my friends punks. I just think that they would just be okay with it sometimes, and some of them did stand by me and fight with me. But that's what led me going to one place to the other, to the other, to the other, to the other schools, you know. But going to these schools created a lot of headaches between my mother and father, and that happening, was, all it did was add fuel to the fire, you know, because that's when I started expanding my wings a little bit, meaning that the only thing I knew was like my building where my mom used to live at, or the house my dad used to live at, and maybe the corner market, you know. But this is what led me, like me getting in buses to go with my friends, or whatever it was to go with my old friends. I expanded my horizon, and then I started going to other places. I started seeing that Inglewood, California was bigger. I started seeing that LA was bigger. So me and my little buddies would go to 7-Eleven innocently, to the store to get some chips, a Slurpee, you know. And then this is where I'll get greeted by different gangs. And this is where I speak of like getting approached by the Inglewood Boys, which is a Hispanic gang in the city of Inglewood. And I'll get hit up by the Inglewood families. I get hit up by the Queen Street Bloods. I get hit up by the homies from 18th Street. And that was life, you know. But one thing that I do know that for sure a big game changer was that I was Hispanic. So back then, Inglewood, California it wasn't racial. Inglewood, California had the Bloods had problems with the Crips, and Inglewoods had problems with the Lennox, and the 18s had problems with the Tepas, whatever, right? It wasn't really, it would be feuds, but certain feuds, it wouldn't be too much. But then shit changed, Shit changed now. Shit's different. Everybody beefs with everybody, So, this was the game changer was once I started experiencing the horizon part where, oh shit, the city is much bigger. Once I started experiencing that the city's much bigger is when things change. I seen people, the Inglewood boys will come and bang on me. This is my recollection, and like, where you from, and get all up in your face, right? And here we go about the bullies. I knew what to do in junior high with some regular people, but now I have men approaching me, getting all in my face, because back then the style was baggy clothes and you have a fade, so I guess I looked like a gang member, so I got approached like one, and I didn't like that shit, so they would come and be like, where you from? And I'll be like, I don't know what to say, but I'll see some of my friends get scared, and I didn't like that either. So they'll be like, they'll see like, man, what you got in your chest, homie? You got something to say? And I'll be like, hell yeah, like, what's up? So some of my friends will run. They'll run. And they'll leave me there, but I caught every fade. I never ran from anybody. And I'll promise you that, feel free to get in my comments and express what you got in your mind. But I'll tell you this, I ain't never ran. There's times where the Inglewood boys will run up on me, a van full of gang members, and I was probably with 2 other people. And yeah, I probably retreat a bit after swinging a few times. But, 1 against 8, come on. If y'all gave me a head of fade, and sometimes y'all would, and it was smooth, I just couldn't change the fact that some of my buddies will go to the next gang over to across the tracks, and be like, hey, Byron's over there fighting. So I say this because I'm not trying to promote gangs or gang violence, but I do say this to the kid out there trying to get bullied and how much it could affect their life. Because at that point, when I started fighting back, now it was a problem, and now it's like I'm not accepted in my own community. So that's how that romance went about, and that romance, I had a girlfriend that stayed in the middle of Inglewood, like right there on Magnolia. That was like my first love, so I was never in fear or scared to take her home. I get G rides, I'll steal cars and shit, and this was before I started gang banging, and I'll take her home, just to take her home, or I'll walk her there. And that's when I'll see one of my good friends right now, Lil Serio, he's up, baby. That's one of my dogs that I used to see on Eucalyptus walking down the street. And we would mad dog each other, but we never banged on each other. But it was no point because we didn't gang bang then. But what I'm saying is that led me to getting busted. Because my little girlfriend went to Inglewood High. And then, you know, since I was in a place where I wasn't welcome, I would go to I would be in the cut, and then I'll pick her up, and then I got pulled over by the Inglewood PD, you know. And I remember it was I was 13 years old, and it was our 1 year anniversary, you know. And I had some roses for her, and I had a stolen car that I bought for like $20 from a Damu, from a blood, you know. And then when I was getting handcuffed, like, she was there all crying, and then I told the police officer, like, hey, can I give her roses, you know? And the police officer let me. But that was my 13 years old, you know, and I ended up in juvenile hall. So me ending up in juvenile hall is where I met my dog Spooky, rest in peace, you know. He banged on me, you know. He's like, where you from? I already knew the routine. I'm like, oh, you a bully too? But in my mind, I'm like, and Spooky like, where you from? I ain't from nowhere, homie, but what's up? And he liked that. Spooky's like, oh shit, like, where you stay at, bro? I stay in Inglewood. So that was just one of my good friends that I had met, you know. And I was just always tense and always ready to fight back for whoever, you know. And what I'm saying is that I will meet people, ladies, girls in my community, or friends, like little friends that will play football, soccer, whatever it was, and they'll come see me and they'll be like, hey, Byron, like, don't get involved with gangs. Don't do it, man. You're much smarter than that, you know. And at that time, everybody was gang banging. Everybody was either a tiger or gang banging, you know, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody was gang banging, you know. So you have to choose. You have to choose a side. You know what I'm saying?
Or you just got mopped up for being from the wrong side.
Yeah, or you got mopped up for being from the wrong side. So it was like that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So at that time, it was pretty much like I was like the first round pick around, like this little dude. We look for dudes like that, like, man, look at that dude. You know, that dude, he's gangbang material. You know what I'm saying? He's with it. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So even when the Inglewood boys rush me, then I get a knock at by my friend that I went to school with, like, hey, you know, the Inglewoods want you to be from the hood. And I'll be like, hell nah, homie, you know? But no disrespect to them now, you know. What I'm saying is that at that time, that's why the anger built. And me going to probation, me going to juvenile hall, I got released on probation. So being released on probation, it puts you on probation programs. So when you're on probation programs, like I was going to Saya, right there on Manchester and Figueroa. Oh no, Manchester and Vermont. And that at nighttime will be a program, so I have to go there in a bus, since that was my probation condition. And then I bumped into Lil Sergio, and we banged on each other. We were even gang banging, but gang banging was what was happening. I just wanted to make sure that they weren't from one of those sets that I felt like was always trying to pick on me and my friends, you know. So Lil Sergio was like, all right, just wanted to make sure, because I guess he was going through the same struggles at that time. But that's what made me and Lil Sergio click. You know, so this goes to the romance that led to me always being around the hundreds, around Prairie and Century, around Hardy, around Arvida, around 102, around 104, around 106. That section this is where this romance comes about, and this is where the music comes. You know, so this is why it's very important. So me and Lil Sergio will be running around Inglewood, because that was a friend. He was not much older than me, probably like 3-4 years. But I was still 13. And you know, like, I liked his style. He was with the business, you know, like, and him too. He's like, man, all right, we with it, and we'll fight anybody that'll fuck with us, you know. So he ended up meeting, I believe, the homie Toke. Sergio met Vago through the homie Toke. But that's how it happened. It happened with Toke, and then it happened with Vago. So at that time, shout out to Vago, wherever you at, baby. Love you, homie. Miss you, homie. And I don't know, bro. I heard, I've been hearing that you got deported or something, bro. But, or you didn't, wherever you at, bro. Holler, fool. I love you, homie. Huh?
You can drop a comment.
Yeah. Tell me where you at, fool. So, I always talk highly of you, my boy. You the homie. Without you, dog, man, I probably wouldn't even be here, bro. So, this is where Vago was living on Osage and between Arvavida and Hardy, where I was living at, and it just so happened that on Osage right now, it's if you fast forward all these years, is exactly where Snoop Dogg is setting up his doghouse and his store, you know. So all that little section at one time was treacherous, you know, like fuck, it was borderlines. Like you had different neighborhoods right there on Prairie, and it was gonna be like what part you gonna be from. And gladly, my homeboy Vago was there to you know, coach us youngsters, you know. So at that time, whenever I'll fight people, I'll fight some little gangs like from around the area, meaning like, you know, smaller gangs, like but they were there, you know, like the Muertos or the Tepas were there. I'll be going to liquor stores, like, you know, to give me candy or whatever, and then I'll fight just because they want to be like, where you from? Like, oh, here we go with this routine again. There was a time where my mom moved back to Regent, and then I had a lot of friends from that area, like Inglewood family, Queen Street, and then I'll get into it with the Inglewood boys. And the Bloods never had issue with any raza barrio right there, any neighborhood like that. They didn't. They have beef with the Crips, so they were my little buddies. So anytime at that time, 18th Street, my neighborhood, we weren't beefing it with all the Damus, you know. And even at that time, I wasn't even from 18 at that time, but I was bouncing around like a ping pong ball because I would always run away from my parents because I fell in love with the streets, you know. Like I started going out with my sister's boyfriend. I started going out with the homie little Sergio and just started running amok. And I wouldn't come home some nights. And, you know, like it's a romance when you start getting into these streets. Sometimes you don't come home, you know. And that right there is sometimes other gangs would jump in for me, you know. Like I remember I'll be fighting the Inglewoods, and then there'll be the Inglewood boys, and then this is where there was some misconception that I was being from a blood gang at one point, but it wasn't even like that. Like I knew the color of my skin, I knew that I didn't belong there, but I did appreciate how they would step up for me, even though I wouldn't ask. It's just at that point when these gang members would be like, hey, let Blood catch a friendly fade, like, and the other gangsters weren't trying to catch a friendly fade. That's just when their ego would get in. And it was vice versa. I also was walking around where the Inglewoods would back me up, like the OGs from Inglewood, the Inglewood boys would back me up against some Damus or some Crips that I would fight. That's something that I was when I was a younger kid. I was a fighter, you know, and I fought anything and everything. I just knew, I don't know, the attention came from there, like the respect, you know, like they respected you. Is either you would get down or what, get down or lay down, or you'll be a punk. Yeah. You were labeled a bitch. Rather have a black guy than be a bitch, bro. So that's what, like, even then, I was already getting into I was already, like, roughed up. Like, what's up? You know, like, so there was times where the Queen Street Bloods would jump in some of my fights, and and I didn't ask for it, but then I get switched up like, oh yeah, Byron or Dopey's claiming this or that. Like, nah, all it was is that before in the past, Latinos in Inglewood, we actually, at that time, like 99, 2000, we were bumping Banging on Wax. And it would be because they were saying Inglewood. You know, and then the first time I bought my Banging on Wax tape, because I had a tape player, was at the Inglewood Swami. And me buying it at the Inglewood Swami is where the romance came of me figuring out Chicano rap. Because me being there at the Inglewood Swami, I would see the Banging on Wax, but I'll turn, and in one section, I seen these bald-headed, you know, Latinos, and there's where I seen Little Rob's Crazy Life. And it's crazy that that's the first CD I ever bought.
Who's these gangster fools right
Yeah,
here?
who the fuck is this? But then when I heard it, I was like, oh shit. So Little Rob's Crazy Life, if anybody knows that fucking CD, man, that shit was hard. You ever heard that shit? Nah, y'all crazy, man. Y'all need to hear that. You need to hear that shit.
That was when the party line was around before YouTube.
The party line? Yeah, before YouTube. Yeah.
The party line.
Yeah, my bad. Can't be chewing on ice right here. Yeah, bro. Well, yeah, Little Rob Crazy Life came out, and then I got hooked on his shit, and then I also seen the Mr. Capone also came out, and then you know, then I got introduced to Mr. Shadow, Night Owl, meaning introduced to the music. So anytime I work a little bit with my father, I'll get he'll give me some money, you know, for running errands or helping them clean, you know. So I would bump that music, man. I was like, oh shit, that was dope. So yeah, you know, this was all 12, 13 years old, and I ended up in juvenile hall, like I said. So when I got out, I was on house arrest, and my dad would be the only one to accept me, so I had to go to LA. So me going to LA, me being on house arrest is where I take care of my beautiful sisters. And since I got to hear Little Rob's Crazy Life, I got put on to like Zappin' Roger. I had the Zappin' Roger Greatest Hits CD. It was yellow. So you know that shit just like boom, 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 ch, ch, boom, ch. Like it was just beats. So I would get bored being on house arrest, and I'll start writing music. And my mom actually, like when I was younger than that, she would see me acting up already in the streets, kicking it with my sister and her boyfriend at the time, or any of my friends. My sister would be there and all the homies, and I was always the baby. I was always the youngest one. So me being the youngest one, one day I was watching Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and then she passed by and she's like, oh, there you go, you're like the little Dopey. So I don't know if you ever seen Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, but it'll be a girl, which was like my sister, she said, and then it will be the other guys, and then Dopey was the one with the bald head, with the baggy clothes, and running in the back, being all clumsy, trying to catch up. So that was me. And then I always be blushy and light skinned. So my mom honestly fucked up by saying that, because after that I started writing that shit on the wall. You know what I'm saying? So I always tell my mama that, like, mama, goddamn, but the bad times turned into a blessing. So that's how Dopey came about. So around that time, I used to just write on the wall, Baby D. Baby D, because I know I was still a little guy, you know, and you know, to earn your name, you had to be like, you know, you have to earn your respect. So when I was on the run, I mean, not on the run, my bad. I'm moving on to front. You know, when I was in juvenile hall, and then I got out on probation, on house arrest, and I had that Zappin' Roger, I was already into the Dopey name. So I would write lyrics about Dopey. So me and Lil Serio actually got off house arrest together because we were on house arrest together. So Vago, the one that I mentioned before, the homie from the hood, from 18, that lived on Osage between Hardy and Arvida, since I lived there and Lil Serio was friends with Vago, we all started clicking up at Vago's building. And it just so happened that Vago had a baby mom, had a girlfriend at that time. And his girlfriend was Little G's sister. So I didn't know about Little G. Well, now they call him King Lil G, his artist name, you know. But at that time, Vago had also somebody next to him all the time, which was Psycho. And Psycho was from 18th Street too. So Psycho is Little G's big brother. So me, Vago, Psycho, and Lil Serio would always get together. And we'll be right there posted on Osage, and me going with friends like into Monroe. All it took was hopping on a bike or walking down Prairie. So it was all local. I mentioned my past, what happened with the Inglewood boys, because me being there at one time, a part of that community, no gang should press up on anybody that lives in their community, because some of these kids won't like that stuff, you know, and then those little kids will go somewhere else, and they'll be the ones to come back and hit you. They'll be the ones to come back and blow your noodles off, you know. And that's why I send that to any active member out there, that you shouldn't push the people in your community, you know.
Like don't shit where you eat kind of shit, right?
Yeah, shit where you don't get. What was that?
Don't shit where you eat.
Yeah, don't shit where you eat, you know. So with me, I mentioned this because this is when everything was going on, and I still wasn't gangbanging, you know. If anything, I met the gangsters all around, but 18th Street was the ones that showed me love. So when I would kick it in the back with Psycho and Vago and Lil Serio, they were the ones that would be like, you know, for fun when you're drinking, they'll be like, hey, put a beat on. And since I knew that I wrote something before, is when I'd be like, all right, man, put this Zappin' Roger on. And you have to have a CD or a boombox at that time, you know, or a CD player in your car. You couldn't use your phone or nothing like that. So we played the beat, and then like I started rapping, like, what did I say? I still remember probably like a few seconds of what I wrote. It says, I said, dopey local motherfucker, I'm a crazed out nut, sporting true blue, homie, it's that west side up. Represented with my gat, cause I gotta be strapped. In the crazy streets, LA where I'm at, fuck the rest. We ain't nothing but the best, smoking nothing but the chronic. I don't fuck with the stress. That's the first raps I ever wrote. I heard it. You see how I remember it? Cause that's that was the one where Psycho was all like, hey homie, you know who my brother is? And I'm like, nah. He's all like, oh well, my brother, he kind of raps. I'm like, who's your brother? And I bring this up right now because I know the whole rap community has been waiting and been gossiping and been whatever the fuck, been anxious to know like what the fuck's going on with young Dopey and King Lil G, you know, and just know that I will explain all of that right now, you know, because I'm talking about how I grew up, and I will never leave a great part of my life out, you know, and this is my story, you know. So y'all heard the first rap that I ever wrote. Was that shit hard or was it? Yeah, it was better than my new shit. Or not better than all new shit. All right.
It's documented now.
It's documented though. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I spit that to Vago and to Psycho, and then they were like, oh, you know, my brother raps, and then Little G was his little brother. So I was like, oh yeah, and Psycho and Vago were like 5 years older than me. So me being 13, they were like 18 years old. And then the homie Lil Shadow got out, because I also seen in the comments that everybody has been like, hey homie, like I think you should speak on Lil Shadow because like you mentioned him so much. You heard Lil Shadow and most of my shit, right? So Lil Shadow, rest in peace. I got him right here, tatted. He was a big
Young Hog.
Young Hog, Lil Shadow. Lil Shadow was the business, you know. So at that time, Lil Shadow got out of YA, and he was more about like, hey, you know where everybody at. He lived on 106, you know. But something about the homies from 18, this is the thing. They greeted me with love, and they told me like, nah, bro, we ain't gonna rush you in, because I think gangs are like that, where they fucking jump you in. But with them, they just seen that I was solid, so there was like, hey, nah, homie, like, you want to be from the hood? And I'd be like, hey, man, I ain't trying to gangbang. But they'll be like, well, all right. They'll be like, well, let us know when you're ready, or if you're ready, you know? And I think that was something that I respected off them, because they moved differently. They weren't trying to bully me. They weren't trying to sock me up. They weren't trying to chase me. They embraced me. So as you see, I was just more like, oh shit. So when Lil Shadow got out, Lil Shadow had charisma. Weren't we just talking about that? He had a lot of charisma. He had the greatest charisma. Or he was a leader. He was a natural leader. Well, he came and he met me, and he was the same. He was all like, hey, bro, like, you gonna be from the hood? And I'll be like, nah, I don't want to gangbang. He's like, that's cool, bro. Like, shit, you know, like, you good with us, though. And that was like, wow. And that right there showed me a different comfort. It was that comfort, like, man, I could come to these guys. So at that time, I was a teenager acting up. I wanted to be with my friends. And then I ended up not showing up in time at home. Mom will be right there with the cinto. My pants were so baggy because I was hanging around with, and at that time it was the fucking, yeah, the look. Being all baggy, that she'll come with the cinto now, and then I couldn't feel the hits no more.
I used to lay my shit.
You know what I'm saying? And I'll be like, ah, man, I can't even feel this shit no more because my pants were so baggy. But my mom tried. That's the thing, you know. Like, my mom really did try. She was a lovely woman. She tried, but it's only so much a woman could do with a man. And I was through that phase of being aggressive, surviving in the treacherous field of Inglewood, California. That's not like how it is now. It was a war. It was a battlefield. So I started running away, being with them more, and I didn't have nowhere to live. I didn't have nowhere to go because my mom was also very prideful. Like, well, get the fuck out of here. So I leave. And this is where the romance came about with my neighborhood, was that Little Shadow was like, hey, well, you come live with me, bro. And I live with him on 106. And he told me like, hey Byron, you ain't got nowhere to, like, do you have anywhere to work? And I was just 13. No, at that time I think I was 14. I was already 14. And then he was like, hey, you don't have nowhere to work? And I'm like, nah. I'm like, but I have some money that I won from working with my dad. So this is when he's like, oh, I know what to do with that. And I'm like, well, what do you know what to do? He's like, man, you know, if you ain't got no money, though, you got to make some money. So this is when he called up Slim. Shout out to Slim, baby. You already know. Armando, nothing but love, baby. Yeah. Slim came through with a pound of stress. Bang. He taught me how to crumble it up. We bought some little sacks. And me and Little Shadow jumped in the bike. And then we went to Imperial in Yukon. And he told me, we're going to stand here and we're going to sell these sacks. So I wasn't even from 18th Street yet. And my boy opened up the network, the hood, to little old me. That's why I love him so much, because I think with him, he kind of seen maybe me and him, or maybe he's seen something, you know? Maybe he's seen something that I can't, you know, the homie rest in peace right now, but the homie made a big difference, you know, because, you know, shit, I was raised a warrior for the hood now, you know? And it's all because of him, you know? So he brought me to the hood, and that's where I felt something different. There's where I'm all like, they told me like, hey, well, let us know when you're ready. And I let them know that I was ready. Because not only did they help me somewhere to sleep at, with laughs, with somewhere of comfort, somebody that I call my friends, is they eliminated a lot from me, you know. They watching my back. To me now it was family. Like, oh shit, like my mom, yeah, they love me. You know, Inglewood was treating me. The city was treating me wrong, but the homies from 18 took me in. So I became a part of their brotherhood. But gaining money there was a means of survival. You know, it was I had to get a place to sleep, because Little Shadow could only let me stay there for so long before his parents would be like, the fuck's he doing here, you know? So I had to stay in motels. And now by this time, I was from 18th Street, you know? Like, I got jumped in. I got officially quartered in. And when I got jumped in, man, let me tell you, like, I cried. I cried real shit, man, because I don't know what it was, but I knew that it was a lifetime commitment, you know? And I just knew the rules, and I didn't know everything, but I mean, the stigma behind it was that you might not make it out in the end. But that's how much love I felt for them. Was that like, put me in that, boy. I'm in there with y'all because of what y'all did for me. So my loyalty to them has been this deep, where I am here, right now, where everything that I've been through is a part of what I became, you know, for them. How much battery we got left on that?
That's just charging.
Oh, so you good?
Yeah.
So me being on Osage, right? Kicking it with Psycho and Vago and Lil Serio, I would see Little G, and Little G was younger than them too, so he was more my age. He's 2 years older than me. So I want to mention this right now, you know, that yeah, there has been situations with Little G, and you know, we're gonna make sure that we iron that shit out today, you know, cause I'm getting tired of or the false narratives that are being pushed and the rumors and shit, like I said, you know. So this is where I'll continue on with this romantic story of my life, you know what I'm saying? I would see Little G, and I wanted to go hang out with him because he was like more my age. Cause Psycho and Boggle, they were aggressive. Yeah, that motherfucker was a beast, you know. So I wanted to hang out with somebody more my age, you know. And I'll go knocking at the door, and I'll be like, "Hey, Lil G," like, and we would listen to beats together in his room. He was showing me like, "Hey, Dopey, listen to this beat." But at that time, Little G was already rapping, I think with some guy youngster from Easy Riders. He has something called Down For My Shit Records. So that's if you go back to his old CD called LA County's Most Wanted. There's where he came from. Him and Bullet from JBI. That's where they both were friends doing business with Youngster. But I wasn't around at that time. I did come around when they were done with Youngster. And when me and Lil G met in that backyard right there in Osage, he did tell me like, "Hey, Dopey, I know an older homie named Downer, which is from Southside 18, 5030s, Tiny Devils. What up, Downer?" He's in Calipatria right now, I think. Big up, big homie. Nothing but love. Little G told me like, "Hey, I know an older homie that is buying studio equipment and he wants to start a record label." And he started, and I'm like, "What's the record label called?" He's like, "It's called Double Nine Records." So Double Nine, 9 plus 9 was 18, but nobody needed to know. That's why we put the two guns. Well, Suge Knight was actually the one that helped us make that Double Nine Records logo. Because, you know, the Death Row Records graphic designer was the one that designed the Double Nine Records design. So, at that time, Little G was like, "Yeah, man, I know an older homie that's trying to start a label." He's like, "If you rap," because he heard me rap that same old rap, "Dopey Local, motherfucker, it's that West Side Up." Whatever I said earlier, right? He's like, "Let's go, fool." And I always had the G rides or always had the whips. So I remember we ended up in Long Beach. And I went with him. And then Downer was like, "Get on the mic. Let me hear what you got." And then I rapped to him. At that time, I was very, I moved from the Banging on Wax to the Little Rob and Capone. And then I would rap like a Nessa, you know? Like, I would rap like, "What's up, Vato? What's up, Loco? What's up?" And it was just what it was. I know Inglewood wouldn't, like, people in Inglewood wouldn't talk like that, but I kind of seen that, like, I foreseen that, like, you know what? I gotta show homage to the raza culture as well. Like, I can't forget where I'm from. You get me? Like, that's Mando. So, so I started rapping right there, and then that's when Downer started explaining to me. Like, he put me on the mic, and then that's when he started explaining to me, like, "Hey, little homie, well, this is serious shit." He's all like, "We're, you know, I don't know if you know, but we're doing business with Death Row Records." And there's where I was all like, "Yeah, whatever. Bullshit." You know what I'm saying? Like, shit, like, what the fuck? Death Row Records? Shit, that's where Snoop came from. Dr. Dre, Tupac, DPG. You know, a lot of people talk good one.
Yeah.
but he wasn't. And he was a fun dude, you know. He was like straight up. Like I learned to respect him because I didn't know him much. He was from the hood. So me and Little G kept going to the studio. We probably only went 3 times. The first time, the reason why me and Little G and Bullet from JBI ended up in the studio, and Downer was trying to create a group, and it wasn't gonna be single rappers. It was gonna be it was gonna be a group.
Like some West Side Connection?
Yeah, like West Side
No,
Connection.
not like the Backstreet Boys and none of that.
No,
right?
no, not the Backstreet Boys. Hell no, bro. We was not the Backstreet Boys. You know what I'm saying? I'll tell you that much. So, the group was gonna be called Murder Block. So you could go. Huh?
Did you guys have a cover too?
No, we didn't have a cover. That was a flyer. What you seen? That was a flyer. So, so it was called Murder Block, and I was with it, but we made a song, and then this is where I knew it was serious. The homie Bandit from, I think he lives in Pico Rivera. Shout out to Bandit. He used to work with like Slow Pain and all of them. He actually made that beat, the Murder Block one, and that shit was hard, you know. So at that time, I was still like trying to be hard and shit. Little young motherfucker putting in work. So I'll rap like, "What's up, homie?" Like I was really like tripping on the mic. I was ready to shoot the mic. You know what I'm saying? But that shit's on YouTube. You know, you can't even understand what the fuck I'm saying. But that song was gonna be pitched to Suge Knight. So this is when I knew it was real. When Downer was all like, it was done. The CD, like, let's go. We're gonna go to headquarters. That's what they call it. And I'm like, headquarters? What's that? So, man, the older homies from Southside 18 at that time, they had Lamborghinis, Rolls Royce. They had Lexuses. They had big blammers. They had gold chains. Like, our boys was doing it, you know? Shout out to all the homies that was there when they were there. Some of them got indicted. No Downer doing like 30-something years for something else, but he's gonna get out soon. You know what I'm saying? So he was all like, we're gonna go to headquarters. So I didn't know what the fuck headquarters was. And then we ended up in Beverly Hills. In I don't think it's Beverly. Yeah, it is Beverly Hills. It's San Vicente and Wilshire. So we pulled up to this big ass building, and then a gate opened, and I still didn't believe, but as soon as we rolled in, I seen like 8 lowriders, like 6'4" Impalas, like all souped up, candy painted. And then I seen Death Row logos in the back. I guarantee you, hey, when I rolled in there, the first beat that came in my mind was that G thing. Bang, 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 bang. I was like, oh shit. Hey, I was like, damn, this shit real. So we rolled in, and then right away, Downer turned around. He's like, you thought I was bullshitting, little nigga, huh? Thought I was bullshitting. I'm all like, low key, high key, but shit, you know? My bad if y'all see me getting interrupted. I'm not interrupted, like kind of like distracted. Is because I have like my boys in and out, getting pizza, rolling up blunts, whispering in each other's ear. They just want to make sure that the pictures is right and that the audio is right. You know what I'm saying? So if I pause, it's not, you know, I mean, I'm normal. I'm human. You know what I'm saying? Like, gotta gather my thoughts and shit. I always tell them that I could shoot this shit from the hip, meaning that, man, I don't need no editing. Fuck that bullshit. Like, why would you need editing if you telling the truth? But whatever, you know. They be like, no, you not, fool. But so I rolled up in there. Oh, in Downer's Lexus, and then but in headquarters, they didn't have a first floor. you had to get in the elevator and then go to the second, and then they had different floors. So it got more realer when I went to the elevator, and then when we went to the other floor, boom, and they opened up, bing, the first thing you see is the death row chair, boom, and you see the logo, and I'm like, oh shit, this shit just got more realer. You feel me? And I was so excited. Cedric, he was a Damu. He was the head of security at that time. He was all like, hey man, we were waiting for Suge. I'm like, oh shit, so Suge really coming, because now we really is death row. That's when I knew. I was like, oh shit, but I was so happy, like a little kid in the candy store, because Tupac, Snoop Dogg, fucking legends, man.
Had been
Man, I could not that moment, I didn't, if I could go back to that moment, I probably would have, I'm not a thief, but I would have took a picture or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, but I didn't want to act celebrity shocked, So I was just like, oh shit. But what I did do was I went to go grab one of the phones, and then I called all my friends. And when I called them, the Death Row Records will pop out on their caller ID. So they'll answer, hello, and I'll be like, hey, and they'll be like, Dopey, what the fuck? I'm like, hey man, this Death Row shit for real. And they'd be like screaming, like girls would be like, for real? And I'm like, yeah, like, hey baby girl. Like, shout out to Ureli, my old friend. She lives right there in the hood. I'd be like, hey, and then I call the homies, Deshaun Jackson, that plays for the Eagles. Like, they were all my friends. I'd be like, guess what? My friend Jeffrey, Dewan, and they were like, what, Byron, what the fuck? I'm like, yeah, dog, we really doing this shit, bro. So those moments, man, I can never forget, because after that, we waited, and then finally they'll call Suge the big homie. So Suge was, they're like, hey, the big homie downstairs. And I'm like, oh shit, this shit real. So we ended up rolling downstairs, and sure enough, Suge Knight rolled up in the B12 Mercedes. Once he pulled in, it was chameleon. What's that chameleon paint? Like that turns
Different colors and shit.
It was like pinkish, and then it'll turn like gray, and then I was like, oh shit, he had a cigar in his mouth. I'm like, that's Suge. And at that time, Suge was big, like that motherfucker. He was, damn, like imagine. I know what he's going through right now is different. I was actually with him in the county jail. We would talk about this in the county jail later on, but I'm telling you my experience as a little kid. Like, I mean, I'm not adding extras though. This shit was exciting. So it was so exciting, man, that it went back to Inglewood though, and it went back to every set in Inglewood. So just so you know that I'll be in the park in the hood, and I had different neighborhoods pulling up, talking about like, hey Byron, I'm proud of you, homie, Or the Bloods, the Damus, would slide by in their bikes. That's before they started beefing, because now the Damus in Inglewood, most of them beef it. But before, they were rolling bikes deep, and they'll pass by, and they'd be like, my nigga Byron, And no disrespect by me saying that word, I'm just quoting how they talk, and how some people talk. I'm saying, I don't use that word, but back to the storyline, right? Suge Knight rolled up, then Corrupt rolled up from the DPG, and then motherfucking Crooked Eye pulled up from Long Beach. Yeah, man. Let me pour up for that. We got more ice? Can we get more ice? So we from then on just know that it was real, and Suge Knight would listen to our songs, and he would recommend. I think he was looking at it from more a business point of view. He was feeling everything. The only thing is that he'll recommend on some songs if this, that, or we could have a person come help you out, right? And that's how I am right now in this business, like I try to tell other artists not to feel offended if we have like another person come and try to help you write or help you produce. So, but we took it offensive. Me, Bullet, and Lil G were like, what the fuck? You know, like, hell nah. But, something that Suge Knight like to do is go to karaoke bars in Hollywood. So we'll be cruising. That's when cruising, like, or in Sunset, on Sunset. We'll be cruising with him. And he was an asset at that time. Well, like anybody, I think anybody that has an asset from the neighborhood, they need to protect that asset. They need to secure it. Right?
Yeah.
Shit, that's mad though. I was we were in we were following him on Sunset. So
Cruising.
yeah, we were cruising and then girls would pull up on him, hey Suge, woo, woo, woo. And damn, I was like, little old me from Imperial, the city of Inglewood, was just like, damn, I'm rolling with a fucking legend. This motherfucker got capped at with Tupac. Like, damn, I didn't know what the fuck to think, man. But Suge Knight was with the business, man. Cause straight up, I don't know what homies from Hollywood, gangsters, from 18, whoever y'all are, y'all can vouch for me, man. I was at a fucking at one of those karaoke bars with Suge, and then we were eating, and I remember Suge Knight was eating chicken, like wings, and then when we were sitting down, oh yeah, but you know what? Let me not leave this part out. When we were cruising down Sunset, and girls would roll up, us homies from 18 would be burning up, me, Downer. Like, we'll be like we were ready because he was, like I said, he was like assets. Protect your assets, protect. So there's where I left off at. Yeah, you know, we're kind of same. So there's where anybody will roll up, Downer will be like, hey, protect this fool, you know, protect them. And yeah, you know, I mean, shit, you know, you got to protect the asset. So anybody roll up, we'll get ready to dump. And come on, as a kid, you heard about the stories, what happened with Suge and Tupac. Shit, you know, like, but at that time I was little old gunner me, you know, so I was like, man, I wish somebody would roll up, you know, but nobody did. But we ended up at a karaoke bar, and every time we would roll with Suge, there'll be some white people, some Chinese people, no disrespect to the whites and the Chinese, but they'll be like playing G-Thang, like, or any death row hits. They'll be up there singing and shit, you know? And I think Suge Knight was fed up with that shit, but we'll be chilling, like, whatever. But this is what happened when we were eating one time was, homies from 18 came running in. We didn't know who they were, but they were from Hollywood gangsters. And then no, you know what? They didn't run in. A girl ran in. And she was all like, y'all from 18? And I'm like, me, I was turned up around that time. So I was like, hell yeah, what's up? They're like, hey, your homies are getting jumped out there right now. So I didn't know what was going on. I went running out there. And I bullshit you not. Bullet was with me. Lil G was with me. Downer was with me. Suge Knight was with me. I was the first one that ran out. And Suge Knight was behind me. Real shit. Suge Knight was behind me. So I was like, I ended up out there, and then the police ended up catching the homies and some dudes from MS. So the homies from 18 were getting into it with these vatos from MS, and the police rolled up, but they were fighting, so they had them gaffled up. But I guess Suge Knight had a habit where he would always want to smoke. So he didn't want to go back up in there, so he stood. I mean, I wanted to make sure my homeboys were good. But Suge Knight was next to me. And Suge Knight was all like, I told him like, hey man, like, nice looking for you running out with me. Like, that shit felt a little weird, but like, that shit made me respect the dude, you feel me? Mm-hmm. But he told me straight up like this. He was smoking a cigarette, and then he leaned right next to me because he was much taller than me, and then he told me, I'm from two sets. He's like, I'm from Mob, and I'm from 18. I was all like, what? I said, that's what's up, you know? You know? Yeah, because, you know, he claimed Mile Paru. So when he said that, I'm telling you, man, like, I know the 18s, like us at that time, we had beef with the down moves from West LA, like the BPSs and the 20 Bloods. I think that was like our only beef at that time. So other branches of 18th Street would try to keep the peace in other cities, but it didn't last too long before we started beefing it with all blood sets. You know what I'm saying? So, but at that time, shit, dude was from Compton, my Paru, and then you was saying like, oh, I'm from 2 sets. I mean, how you not gonna respect that when somebody ran out with you to back you up? So he came with me. So that was one encounter with him that I definitely do not forget and I respect him for. But after that, we went to the studio a few times, and in the elevator, he told me straight up, he's all like, hey, Dopey, he's all like, you actually the youngest artist I ever been with. You know, like he was in the elevator with me, and then to me, that was an honor, man. You know what I'm saying? Like one of the greatest, I mean, shit, everybody tells stories about Suge now, but to me, I was just like, hell yeah. He's like, you one of the youngest, man. And I always remember that, you know? So that gave me motivation, but at the same time, in my neighborhood, it wasn't like that. I think Latinos was still looking at it like rapping was more of a black thing. They'll see like Kid Frost or certain people rapping like Lil Rob, but it wasn't big how it is now, you know? So when I go back to the hood, it'll be like you gotta do your duties there. You gotta, like, rapping, nobody believed in rapping, you know? So what I didn't like is when people would be like, man, I ain't a rapper, I'm a gun clapper. And I'll be like, fuck that mean, homie? You know, that shit be disrespectful, right? Like, they'll be like, you testing me, homie? So there'll be a lot of fighting with me having to catch my fades and be like, what the fuck you mean, homie? So I have to make sure that I set the tone with that in my neighborhood. And,
You wish it could have been different?
Nah, I don't wish it was different because I think that's what made me, that's what created my brotherhood with my brothers that are here, you know? So the brothers that are here or how we grew up, I think I earned that respect to be like, you know what, Dopey's a real homeboy, you know? And you know, those days with Death Row, we were supposed to, you could even see it in the Dysfunctional Family album. That was the first album we were supposed to be on, but one of the records didn't get placed. It was with Bullet and Little G, and I was still the little one, so I waited my turn. The homie Bino from Smiley Drive was also supposed to be in that album.
Got the 666 records.
Yeah. Well, after that he went to 666 Records, but it was me, Bino, Little G, and Bullet. You know what I'm saying? So Bino will be right there in Long Beach. I seen him a few times and shit. The homie got down. The song didn't get placed for some reason into the soundtrack, this Dysfunctional Family soundtrack. But even in that booklet, if anybody has a CD of that,
I think Crooked Eye had a song in there, yeah?
yeah, Crooked Eye, yeah. It's Still the Row. It's
No,
Still
like
the Row.
Dysfunctional Family.
Yeah, it's
That's
Still
the
the
name
Row.
of the song? Okay.
I think it's Still the Row.
I think it's Dysfunctional Family.
It's fun. It is this fun. I mean, shit. I mean, man, it's been so long. You're probably right, bro. But that's our song did not get placed there, but in the booklet it said Death Row 99 Records upcoming. So we were in the verge of getting this. They plugged us in with a distribution called Koch Records. Back then the music worked differently, you know. So Koch was their distribution, and then we got a budget, but we had a line. Pretty much, Bullet was the older um, individual rapping. He was about 18, 19 years old, I think. And then Lil G, since he was a little younger, he was like 17 at the time. He was gonna get next, and then I would drop third. You know, it was our agreement. You know, but from then, you know, we would party, man. I end up in the Staples Center with Suge, like in the boxes.
The sweets.
Yeah, the suites. I didn't even know. I walk in and everybody be in there partying, and then I was just little ass me. You know, I didn't know. I knew the opportunity, but I just didn't know what to do with it. I just felt like not amazed. By then, I just thought that not overwhelmed. I just thought that, man, hell yeah, like I knew something was gonna come my way, and we here, but I just think that this younger generation needs to know what to do with their opportunities. They need to work. They need to emphasize, because at that time, you know, like we just didn't know what we had in our hands, you know, and we didn't take advantage of that shit. You know what I'm saying? So we were partying, and then there was a few times I ended up at Spearmint Rhino with Crooked Eye, right there in LA, and I didn't know that when you go to the front, like when you're in the front row, I was so young that when you go to a front row, you have to give $1 to at least be there, right? You know what I'm talking about? Huh?
You gotta throw
no
something.
money if you're there.
Yeah, but at least $1.
Yeah.
Like if you sit, I think it's $1 song. I know you know, Chief. Yeah.
Yeah, you know.
Nah, he's the homies probably don't put me out there.
Act like you don't know
Yeah,
the
keep it low
rules.
key. Yeah, don't say no
Keep that shit
name.
low-key, though.
Hey, nah, but yeah. So I didn't know that, but I remember the strippers will complain because I would be with Little G, and we were just like little kids, and we didn't know that we had to do that. But the strippers would be like, "Where my tip at?" And then we'll be like, what the fuck? But we had baller ass homies in the background partying with Suge, Death Row. And then the older homies will come with fucking stacks of hundreds and be like, what you tripping on? And the bouncers be like, oh yeah, because they didn't tip the $1. And then the big homies will throw hundreds in the stripper's face. You know? Hey, real shit. I'll be like, I felt like picking up a few of those hundreds. You know what I'm saying? I was like, what the
You need all
fuck?
of
Like,
that.
why you bless her with that? You know what I'm saying? Why can I get that shit? You know what I'm saying? So at that time I was still selling Sax on Imperial, so I was just like, what the fuck? I gotta sell bud, and then these bitches gotta complain, and then they get all that money. So yeah, that was those times, man, with Suge, and great times. I don't know what happened. That's my older homies' business. All my older homies. But my homeboys ended up falling off with Suge. I don't know if it was like some business differences or what, you know. But definitely there was other things that bear fruit in between that, you know, and this is where I'll go at with my story with Lil G, you know, and from there the older homies, all they wanted was good for us young homies. You know, and now that I see it, me being younger, because now I'm a little older, and now I see talent in LA, and especially my little homies from 18, and there's not too many homies that were 13, 14, or 15 like how I was, or like 17, how Little G was. These little homies, like, I don't want them wasting their talent, and it's sad when I see them fucking around in the streets. I kind of be like, damn, they just wasting that shit. But that's how I felt like Downer felt. Downer would always tell me and Little G, stay out of trouble. And that's what happened with me and Little G was that Little G, I think the youth or anybody could always use me and Little G as an example. I think it's very, very important that y'all learn from our story because we were young, innocent, and we had opportunity in our hands. And I chose my energy to be in the streets, putting in work, and being loyal to these brothers of mine that gave me a bed, that showed me how to make money, that embraced me into a family. When my mother couldn't lead me because she was a woman. So much, like I said, a woman could do, but my brothers led me there, so I was very, very loyal to them. Little G, on the contrary, I do believe, and it shows right now, that he was disciplined and determined to be involved with his music. So, me being out there in the backyard, in the back of the apartments, chilling with Psycho, with Vago, with Lil Serio, I chose my destiny. And Little G being inside, kicking it with his girlfriend, and not being out there on the streets with us, because he was riding, or because he'll have to go to work. It just shows where we're at in life right now. And that doesn't mean that anybody's better than anybody. I'm just saying that if you focus your craft on whatever it is that you do, you're going to get results like that. And as you see me being in the street, putting in work, doing what I had to do, I ended up in prison. I ended up getting locked up when I was 15, 16. Dumbo, what was I?
No,
Huh?
for the last time?
No, not the last time. Well, I was a little young buck. I got busted for an attempted murder, and on top of that, 2 strong arm robberies and possession of a firearm. And at that time, the Lennox sheriffs were one part of that case, so they were hitting people with fitness charges, meaning that charges like this, you'll have to fight your fitness, meaning that you'll get charged as an adult. So at a young age, I got charged as an adult. So pretty much what it is that your case is so big, and this is the juvenile system, and they hold you in court to see if your case is going to fit. And obviously my case didn't fit. So the sheriffs did tell me, if you do not cooperate, we're going to make sure that you get charged as an adult. So I soldiered up and said, fuck y'all. And I lost my fitness. I got charged as an adult. I ended up getting 10 years behind it. I did 80%. And throughout this time, when I got busted, Double 9 Records got dismantled because the homies got raided. There was a seizure, like they were seizing assets from some of the older homies, and Double 9 Records was gone. And but me and Little G still remember those moments. That I got taken when I was younger, and he continued out here. And when he continued, that's when I guess he cracked off with MySpace and all that stuff, and I didn't know about that, you know what I'm saying? So I was in juvenile hall, I went to YA, I went to prison. Whatever happened during that time, it was just brothers being brothers, We're raised to be macho and hard on each other to press that line. And, I guess Little G had a fallout with some of the brothers in Inglewood on 106. And, I mean, and he had that good influence from Downer, from Southside 18, to be like, hey, don't focus on that. Focus on your future. You know? So, Little G made a choice at that time, you know, and he's like, either I deal with this macho street politics as a young kid, but I can't say that that was wrong or right, you know, because when we're young and we got hood rules, you must abide by them. You feel me? But now that we get older, we do see that that was just us being young fucking savages. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, but Little G made his choice, and you know, he had to do what he had to do. He had a child, and he moved to Southgate, and I do think that he made a choice that was best for his family and for his support system, where the homies from Southside 18 took him under the wing. And you know, when I got out 2010, I did hear about the little fall off, but me, I've always been positive about keeping us united and together. So for y'all out there putting this false narrative out there, you know, about that Little G this and Little G that, and Young Dopey this, Young Dopey that, I really think that, you know, people on the internet shouldn't believe everything they hear and see or whatnot, you know. Just know that first and foremost, I will state this, that if my homeboys got any problems, you know, we will address it as brothers from 18. Our neighborhood will be the ones to deal with the issue. So it's not for the public to determine or to change the narrative on what's going on. If I didn't like Little G, I wouldn't tell y'all. I'll call somebody and set up that fade, straight up. You know, I don't need to be dissing anybody or sending indirects. You know, if anything, I do explain this story because it's genuine, it's true, and I want y'all to know that now that we're grown, there's nothing wrong with what happened, you know. And you know, there might be some youngsters that differ, might beg to differ. They might think different. There might be some older homies that be like, man, fuck that. But that's our business. That's 18th Street business. And for right now, just so you guys know, me and Lil G, we straight. You know, we good. You know, if anything, I want y'all to know that we chose to run our own businesses. And even years ago, when we chose to do that, we shook hands, and it was business differences. That's all it was. He wanted to run his business his way, and I wanted to run my business my way. And I do believe that, not even believe, I know that that was the biggest blessing I ever got, because I never wanted to live in anybody's shadow, because now we doing our own thing, and that was a blessing. And now, as you see, we have 6th BLK Records. So those things with Lil G, man, big ups to Lil G. You already know. I had a good talk with him the other day. We finally met up. I let him know that I didn't like all that, him saying that, oh yeah, he's from the set. Like, you know, that could be taken out of context, because I know you guys see the, he kind of rubbed them off, or nah, like, it don't bother me. It just, I know how you guys change the narrative. So I let him know that, hey man, shit, there's a bigger story, man. There's hometown, baby. There's Inglewood. There's SoFi Stadium now. There's this stores, the Doghouse store and the Funko Pop store and the hood and everything right there, homie. You used to work in that corner on Arvida and Prairie, and you know what? He agreed. He's like, you right, bro. There is a backstory behind us. And we shouldn't be ashamed of that. shit, we should be proud of that shit, you know? And I am proud of it. And I am very proud of Lil G's achievements and his success. And I wish him nothing but greatness. And he is from the hood. He is my brother. He's up. And Psycho, I'm glad that you got us together. And Psycho knows that I was banging with him when we were younger. And, you know, this one's for Psycho. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, like I said, you know, he was one of the ones that embraced me when I didn't have nowhere to go. And Psycho got out from doing 18 years. He was actually the one, he was actually misled by the narrative of mandatory and of watered down gangster. And everybody assumed that I was always dissing Little G. Come on, bro. Like, you really think... I think anybody from any neighborhood presses on people that don't come around. People that don't show face. Watered down gangster. I think anybody pushes if you ain't in the set all the time. Mandatory. Pull up. Take the metro, homie. Boom. Motherfucking bandwagon. That's one that I need to state on that. Bandwagon is very, very complex, because bandwagon is what's happening right now. Bandwagon is about motherfuckers out here that are running their own program. So as you know, that I've done time and I've done clicked up with almost every good individual from every set. And we know who's a part of the program. It's kind of like a software. You fucking throw it in the computer and then it runs a certain way. If not, you can't use it. So the program is the program. And any of you other rappers that aren't a part of the program or that fuck up in the program, I'm just not fucking with you, bro. I'm trying to run a legit business right here. So do not bring your stigma or your problems to my business. It's kind of like any business that goes and seeks employment. When they get an employee, they don't want an employee that's going to fuck up their material, that's going to go fuck up their equipment, right?
Yeah, no.
So with me, I'm also trying to protect my assets. And that's what bandwagon's about. Like, man, like, everybody doing this and doing that. Like, go ahead and run yourself in the wall. But we ain't doing that. It just seems that a lot of people don't get on board with what's happening, you know? There's rules out here. I stay in my lane. I respect what's happening in LA, California, in the G code. I was brought off that. So I have to, you know, and then I'll be damned if you see me next to somebody that's not running a good program. So I am next to those that represent themselves correctly. They're a representative of me too. They're a part of me, you know. So anytime you see somebody next to me, that means that they straight, you know. And if they don't, then they got a question mark next to them, you know, straight up. But moving on from that, you know, as you see those times with the difference of what me and Little G did in life, I ended up in prison. He ended up out here, and he had more years to focus on his business. But I had years and commitment to focus in my business, meaning like being incarcerated, the streets, getting more familiar with homies from different neighborhoods, different cities. We went through struggles together. You know, we heard when our kids were being born. We celebrated together. We were in riots together. We cried together. I mean, everything, you know, and those also became my brothers too. You know, like I was telling the homie the other day, it was crazy how I have homies from 38th Street, homies from Florence, homies from 41st Street, and we'll be all like, we'll cook a big ass spread and we'll all say prayers. So it's kind of like we seen each other for a part that some of my other brothers out here haven't seen me. I told homies the other day that I had 16 homies from 18th Street on my tier at one time, and the only one that would be blammered up next to me with you know, what y'all call a shank, you know, like to protect me, make sure that we're both good, and I'll be with a shank, and he'll be from a different neighborhood. So we had respect for each other because when shit will pop off, we'll be the ones getting off. And as you see, man, that made me see life in a different light. It changed the dynamics of how right now I speak of the Inglewood boys. Because shout out to my boy Frosty from Inglewood. You know, he was there in the riot with me on the yard when he got into it. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, I'm the one that jumped in and got that shit cracking for him, you know? And when we're fighting for each other's lives side by side, when we were in the hole together and he was all battered and bruised up, I ended up getting stabbed in my face that day in that riot. He wrote me a wheelie and he thanked me for saving his life that day. You know, so that changes what happens. You know, remember I told y'all that they used to run up on me when I was younger and all this and all that. It'll be same person that'll come back and save your life, boy. You know, so shout out to Frosty. I will never tell these lies. The Inglewood boys can go ahead and look into that. You know, and me and Frosty had a moment, you know, at that time where that changed my dynamic, the way I looked at life. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man, shit. You know, now that we're grown, and I became good friends with Daffy, you know, from Inglewood. Me and him were trying to fucking kill each other when we were younger, you know, and I mean, shit, you know, I could name good homies from Lennox, from Little Watts, from all around my section, you know what I'm saying? Inglewood family, Queen Street Bloods. Like, everybody around there is real reputable motherfuckers, you know, and even the Crenshaw Mafias, I have some good friends. Unfortunately, you know, things happen within our community. And I'm just thinking about the kids now. But, you know, this music shit has a big influence on a lot of things, man. But I just want y'all to know the roots of when y'all hear my music. That shit's really connected, bro. That shit's like connected like motherfucking Wi-Fi, baby. You know? So yeah, that shit real. So
So is anybody bigger than the program, D?
oh, nobody's bigger than the program. That's what I'm saying. Like you cannot in this music shit, people think that they could do whatever they want, homie, and it's just like, nah, bro. Like, I mean, it's good to be artistic. You can do whatever you want artistically, but there's rules in this shit, bro. Like, respect the rules. Like, what the fuck? Like, I mean, y'all don't like rapists, right? The fuck? Y'all don't like fucking I mean, rats and all that shit. Like, there's other things that go deeper, but people choose to fuck with them, and it's just like, all they are is a rotten apple that spoils a whole bunch. So that's why people in prison think that they're bad people. There's a lot of innocent people in there, but there's a lot of heroes in there that actually eliminate that threat, that spoiled apple, that rotten apple. Because what that could happen is when the rotten apple comes in and spoils the whole bunch, they'll have 20 people on each side getting killed. So that's why there's that one guy that comes and eliminates that one, and they're actually the hero, but they sacrifice themselves. Extermination. I mean, yeah. You know. But yeah, man. I met all these great people from different neighborhoods. And you know, like I said, like the my boy Frosty, my boy Daffy, and I would love to give a shout out to homies from every neighborhood, cause y'all already know what's up. What up, Public 38th Street? Love you, boy. Boyle, Florence, Asesinos. You already know, love one. Shit, you know, those that I don't mention, do not take offense. You know what I'm saying? Like, you guys are real ones. Stravi, Florence, Ya Sabes. My boy Cat from Northside 18. You know, go cop his streeter apparel, doing his thing. Like, what we trying to do right here, man, is share the knowledge of the business and be like, hey, you know what? Now, our raza is accepting this shit. Because I remember when I was 18 years old in New Folsom, and there was a 4-yard, and homies would come up to my cell, and they would say that rap was that negro shit. So when I'll be really like bumping like Sibo or Mac Dre or
Remember that shit? The Trey 57?
yeah, Trey Frost, E-Love, yeah. So I'll be bumping all this shit. Like, I'll be bumping because homies from New Folks, there was a lot of homies from the Bay over there. And then, or Young Hog, that was through SPM beat. You know what I'm saying? Like, all of that was through a CD that I'll repeat. But when the homies will come, the camaradas that were handling business, they'll come and they'll be like, hey, homie, what you doing? And at that time, I was in college. So just so you know, I didn't stop at 6th grade. Once I went to prison, I got my GED. I got my GED in YA. And then in prison, I ended up getting my AA degree. So, motherfucking in business, baby. So, goes to my homies in prison, baby. What's up, man? Shit. Run that shit. Like, my brother right now doing live, Jonathan, J-Boy, I love you, bro. If you ever see this, you know, you never forgotten. I know you doing a good thing. You're part of the youth program and all that. YG, I know you still in there from the 6th boy. I know you could do that. A lot of homies run that shit, dog. Get your education. Get into welding. Get into any of those fiber optics. I forgot what it's called. Or that building maintenance or masonry. They got a lot of you know, programs in there, bro. And then you come out here and kill that shit, man. Even me, I got my Class A license. You know, started my own trucking business. Started doing my own thing. Started rapping. You know, but that's what I'm saying. When I would rap, like, I wrote E-Love in there. I wrote Young Hog. I wrote my biggest hit in there, Payback, when I was in Wasco in the hole. So, my biggest hits were written in prison, bro. See, I say, hey, man, everybody in prison, dog. Hey, right. Save those lyrics, boy, because those are the best ones that people
recorded that video in my room, bro. We'll stay right there.
Oh yeah. Had to kill the
oh shit, bro. That's
the witness. But that don't give up, man. So I didn't know about the business aspect of it, you know. So it was just like, all right, I'm gonna do it. Regardless, I did my business on the side. Like I did my welding. I got transferred to Old Folsom and met one of the best instructors ever. His name is Easy. Man, shout out to Easy, man. He was a mentor for real. And I could have came out here and started welding. But they give you a lot of opportunities, you know, so take advantage of them. The homie from Clarence Street, I think Sharky, was the one that introduced me to truck driving. He was the one that one time showed me his photo album when I was in prison. And I seen that he had jet skis. He had like, he had a house. And he was all blasted up. I'm like, man, what the fuck? Like, so I automatically assumed, you see, my young mind was like, oh, you're a drug dealer. Because I was thinking about my OG homies from Southside 18. Them motherfuckers was doing it big, you know? So I was like, man, these fools is nah. But he was all like, nah, bro, I'm a truck driver. And I'm like, you're a truck driver like that? So he had tattoos, and he's like, yeah, bro, they don't care if you got tattoos. All they care about is you driving. And hell yeah, he wasn't lying. You get in the truck driving business, they don't care about your tattoos. They don't care about your record. And there's a lot of money in that shit. Right now, the rates are low because it's the beginning of the year. But definitely, like, it's a good thing for those younger homies that got busted when they were young. Get out. Your parole could assist you with funding that. You know, there's programs for that. Get into the truck driving business, bro. Shit, you know. I mean, anything I can do, you know, leave a message, shit, not a comment, you know, DM me, you know, like maybe I could, you know, right now I do have hundreds of messages I get daily, you know, and I do know that I need to hire somebody to take care of my messages. So ladies, holla at me if you want a job. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, because those messages get treacherous. I got a gang of messages, bro, you know? And all that little, like, hard and 100, like, I'm not going to respond to none of that. Like, I'll respond to, like, a real question. You know what I'm saying? Like, get at me like a person. I understand that technology's fast. So if you get at me with just a like that, like, or a thumbs up, then I'll get it probably back at you with a thumbs up too. Like, all right, move on. But even if I spend an hour a day or 2 hours a day, I still won't catch up with my messages. You know, that's how hectic it gets, bro. So that's why I don't feel like that, bro. You know, sometimes I'll be like, man, I'm gonna get at him. Like, oh, fuck. Oh, that shit be a bitch. But I did want to work on that beat. That was a badass beat. So, to end it like this, you know, just so you know that 9 Records was standing. I got out a few times. When I got out 2010, me and Lil G was rolling together, you know, and that's when he started I think Sucios, because the 9 Records was already seized. But I had my own vision, you know, and I had the homie Mousy from Playboys make the 6th BLK Records. And 6th BLK Records was influenced from Suge Knight and the Death Row Records days. And 9 Records. Because if you pay attention to the 6th BLK logo, all right, the 9 Records has 2 guns coming out. If you look at the 6th BLK, it has 2 chucks coming out. So it resembles it. It doesn't have 2 guns, it has 2 chucks. And when I met Suge, Death Row turned into The Row Records. So it was THAROW. That resembles what Death Row was like. You know, so the THA, the came from, oh shit, hell yeah, at that time it was that, you know? But I showed a lot of people around me, and I was like, hey, you know what? What do you think about this? And everybody was supportive, but at that time, people still didn't believe in the movement like that, you know? The 6th BLK Records right now has its roots from where I started from in the past. Like, if you really see the 6th BLK Records logo, it has a lot to do with how Death Row Records and 9 Records were together at one time. So 9 Records has the 9, and then it has the 2 guns coming out. Well, in my logo, it it has the 6, and so the 9 and the double 9 is just turned over. So the 9 is now a 6. It's the same type of font or type of style, and instead of 2 guns, we put 2 chucks. And the reason why was, you know, you go to any ghetto back in the day, you know, you had some baby kids on the block or like some ghetto ass kids, they would just tie up two shoes and fucking be in the middle of the street throwing it on the wire, you know. So it reminds me of when I was a little ass kid with the homies fucking around, would take the homie's shoes while he was sleeping, or some old shoes that we don't want to use anymore. But particularly is a day that me and the homie Lil Shadow, rest in peace, had some old blue Chuck Taylors, and we were right there on 106 just fucking tossing that shit up, just clowning around. So definitely that represents me as a kid and where we came from. And where Death Row came from, you got to understand that Death Row, once upon a time, I mean, yeah, after Death Row, Suge Knight turned it into The Row Records. If you do your research, it was THA, then the electrical, the guy in the electrical chair, and then Records. So it was, it was The Row Records. No, it was The Row, my bad. But what I'm talking about is that I took the THA, and when I was in prison, I had the homie Mousy from Westside Playboys, Mafiosos clique. It's over there in Palmdale. What up, my boy Adam? I know him by his first name. He's the one that made my 6 block logo, and I'm the one that told him about this Death Row Double 9 days, and we both shared minds, and we would work out in the yard, and he sketched it from scratch. You know, I paid him for the work, and we made this logo, you know, and we did it from Chuck Taylors that we had in there. He would have it in front of him. I told him how the 9 and the double 9 was. I told him how the was from The Row Records, and that's how the 6 block logo came about, and it all came from prison. And when I got out, I wanted to make that a reality, you know, and I did. And this is why right now, from the beginning of the podcast, I know this is a long one, but if you see the reward off of this, is that you've seen what I gained from my struggle. In between, I didn't tell y'all that I fought 3 life cases and all that. I mean, I didn't tell you the battles I had to go through in there. I did share with you one about some camarada that I shared a life-changing experience with, but I have much more that I will share throughout my podcast. You know, it's definitely not the last one. So all in betweens would definitely bring that out. But what I want to stand out right now is this was just a pipe dream. Like, I wasn't just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do this. Nah, I made it happen. And I made it happen, and you can make it happen. And I'm not bullshitting you, bro. Any of you guys locked up right now, or anybody right now in the trenches, save up your money, bro. Invest, you know, buy some beats, get with a beat maker, buy some equipment, you know, instead of just kicking it in the backyard and getting drunk and getting high. Like, get into some music, bro. You know, shit, you ain't gotta be rapping about gangster hard shit, you know. I mean, everybody gets high, everybody gets drunk, you know, like hippies used to. They were in gang members. You guys could sing. Any kids that have some type of unification that come together, you guys could invest your money and start singing. You guys could come up with the sickest hooks. You guys could make crazy beats. Like, shit, you know, you guys could be the mind behind the thing. You know, great managers. you guys could be security. You know, you guys could train and be hard, and train and make your mind, body, and soul strong and hard for you to protect the assets within your company. It's a lot of things that this music brings to the community. So what I'm saying is, don't lose hope. When you locked up, write your raps. Keep connected with all the people in there, black, white, Hispanic, Asian. Educate yourself. I know y'all got cell phones in there. Y'all could look anything up on YouTube. You know, y'all could learn. Shit, I had the homie Knockout from 18 from the hood, and there's a lot of other people, but I'm gonna just use him as a reference. He used to rap when he was inside, locked up, and I think he did like 10 years or some shit like that. There's apps in there. You know, there's ways you can get discovered. And all I'm saying is that the internet and technology has offered that to us, has made that available to us. So use it. You know, just don't be a deadbeat. I mean, that's on you, you know. But what I'm saying is that I did it, and I ain't perfect, but I definitely bring that rawness and that realness off my music. I just recently seen an interview for one of these beautiful actresses, man. I forgot her name, but she was giving it up to Tupac. And they were trying to ask her, like, she was a Latina artist. I think she came out in SWAT. I don't know, you know who she is? Oh, she came out in Fast Furious?
Yeah,
Huh?
Rodriguez.
Gina?
No, not Gina. Fucking Michelle Rodriguez.
Michelle Rodriguez?
Yeah.
Gina! We'll go way back to Martin.
From Fast and
Martin! No, but what's her name? Michelle Rodriguez. Yeah,
She's so around Tupac.
No. What she said is that they asked her one day, who do you think was better, Tupac or Biggie? And then she said that, like, Biggie, they both were hard, but and then she mentioned how Tupac was deeper. Like, he knew about his past, he knew about his present, he knew about the future. And he was deep in a different level where he's still teaching our youth right now. So you gotta, like, I'm definitely going with Pac. And yeah, man, like, you gotta see that. I mean, look at Pac-Man the Gunman. Shit, he knows how to make corn. Shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we share.
About to that.
Yeah. That's it. That's what I'm saying. We share heritage. We share passion. Music brings us together. You know what I'm saying? And you know, let's use that to unify and strengthen and feed our families, you know. So the 6th BLK Records was created from a motherfucker facing life in prison, you know, and that was me. And everybody in the hood thought that I was done, you know. Everybody, yeah, you know, I was acting a nut. I was putting in work. I was acting a fool. Even in prison, I was putting in work. Always end up in ADSEG in the back. You know, I lost most of the most beautiful women in the neighborhood, the best opportunities. I lost a lot of friends being locked up. I didn't get to see them. The last time I seen them was them seeing me locked up. Me having to hear in there that they passed away. But I know they're watching me from up above, and I know they're sending their blessings, and I'm gonna do something for my community. And there's where the 6th BLK Records is no longer just like a gang thing. The 6th BLK Records now is a music company. It's a music group. And, you know, I know enemies are gonna try to throw shade on it, whatever, you know. I honestly don't give a fuck, you know, because if you do your homework about me, like, you know the business, you know. Like, if anything, I'm just trying to, who the fuck else turns their fucking neighborhood or their sandbox homies to a motherfucking record label? You know what I'm saying?
Or a negative into a positive.
Yeah, a negative into a positive. You know, I'm trying to do it, and that's what I'm doing. And fuck anybody that's hating, and salute and nothing but love to those that are taking this to heart. You know, and with the 6th block, what I'm trying to do is I'm not only looking into 18th Street. I'm not only looking into gang members. I'm looking into talent in general. Because I don't think gang members are the only ones that go through struggles. I also think that just you being raised in certain sections, you have the same, you go against the same, what's the word I'm looking for? Like adversities as us, you know? You go through the same adversities, the same challenges. Yeah, trials and tribulations. Yeah, you go through the same thing as us, and I'm like Downer now. You know, like trying to tell young Dopey and Little G to snap out of it. And you guys don't need to be in the streets. You guys could be in this music. You guys could make a living out of this shit. You guys could become millionaires out this shit. You guys could move mountains with this shit. And that's what I told Little G the other day when we finally linked up after 10 years, you know, because I even told him that, you know, like, hey, homie, we need to snap out this shit, you know? And just like I tell y'all and anybody that, with this music, I mean, you could build a platform so strong that people will look to you for guidance. People will look to you as a pillar, as something that could guide them through what they're going through. And I've been in prison, in county jail, where I get letters from people's moms, from homies that have passed away from different neighborhoods. And in respects to that, man, I really do want to give a shout out to somebody that recently passed away. And I just want to do this because I know there's a lot of homies that I've been locked up with, and their families contact me when they pass away, but I don't think too many homies knew when I was locked up that I used to rap. It's because I was really involved with the life in there, you know? And this shout out is to Fat Boy from Otay, San Diego, that just recently passed away in March 7th, 2023. You know, he died off a fatal overdose. And, you know, he said that he did time with me, and I do remember him. But his brother wrote to me and told me he always mentioned you when he was buzzing or when he heard your tracks on his phone. You were his celebrity acquaintance, and he was proud of your progress. And I can't make these things up, bro. All right, rest in peace, brother. You know, and everybody in there, or anybody going through the struggle, I think, you know, they look up to people like us that actually make it through the fog, and there's a light in the end of the tunnel. Keep fighting. Shit, y'all need some advice, you know, holla at me if I can help y'all. Don't give up. And the 6th block is definitely open for any talent. I'm always looking for better talent. And right now I'm to the point where I'm learning the business more, because nobody's teaching me. Nobody's telling me what to do. I'm more learning it step by step. Sometimes I feel that the industry doesn't accept the real. They kind of boycott us. Because I get it, you know, some of these investors or anybody who wouldn't want to invest in real motherfuckers, you know. But it could be the realist, you know, like meaning the realist, it just means that we're trying to get off our ways. We're the most productive and the most gentleman-like and know how to deal with these type of things. It's just I'm not giving up hope. I'm not gonna change up because I see the industry changing up. I do believe that there is my own lane, you know, and I'm gonna stay there. And I'm trying to kick down doors for the next artist, trying to believe in his platform and his dreams. And right now, that's what I'm doing. You know, I'm sticking to my guns. I'm rolling the way I roll. And I know that I must invest like in PRs one day. I must invest in you know, there's different levels to this shit, you know. But right now, just know that everything I got out there is organic. Nobody owns nothing. Everything's 100% my shit. And I did that straight from, like I told you on my last podcast, from putting a shirt in the hood and being like, this is for sale. From me, rapping in the motherfucking closet at Siphon Studio in East LA. There's where I rap, motherfucking. There's where I made E-Love. There's where I made fucking Lord Can You Hear Me. That's where I made Thug Child. Man, I used to have all the homies right there, deep as fuck, you know, and we're all fucked up, but those were my greatest bangers. But and then I started getting into the business of it, and I know I might not be as fast as some of these other artists, but definitely, man, I'm going through the ropes of learning, and I might not get to that you know, high ground where I want to be at, but definitely the knowledge that I'm learning is that an artist from the 6th BLK Records will make it there. That's for sure. And we ain't stopping until we do reach the motherfucking millions, billions, and all of that, baby. So I love y'all. It's the second episode. The next one, I'll be sitting down with my boy Gangsta Wish. You know what I'm saying? We're going to sit down. Now we're going to try the earphones maybe on and then the other mics that we got. And yeah, you know, shit, you know, I hope y'all liked it. I know, like I told y'all, why the fuck did I mean, everything that I answer right now is like I interview myself. Like, why the fuck is somebody else going to ask me? Like, I'll tell y'all myself. Shit, you know, like, why not, you know? So I hope y'all enjoyed it. It came directly from the horse's mouth, you know, and
Nice to question on the comments.
I hope y'all respect it, love it, and leave some comments, you know? Shit, let me know your opinion. You know, I know some podcasts are like 3 hours long, 1 hour long, 30 minutes long. Shit, I really don't give a damn how long it was because I do whatever the fuck I want, you know? But I hope y'all liked it. Salud.
Homies, program time. Shake them sheets, brush that grill, roll up that mat. Program time. Ha ha. Program time, baby. Early in the morning, get that ass up, baby. Let's get that money, biscuits and gravy. Keep one on top of the Colt 380. I don't move to the hood, say so. Calculated steps, oh yeah.